Beloved soul, in this very moment, you might be gazing around and feeling that there is no one who truly sees you. Your heart may ache with a wordless longing for connection, a sense of hope that somehow, somewhere, there is someone or something that will hold you in a warm embrace and whisper that you are not alone. Perhaps you wake each day with a heaviness in your chest, uncertain of how you will manage another round of hours, without the comfort of companionship or the reassurance that your presence matters to someone. Loneliness is not always about how many people surround you, but about whether you feel truly seen, heard, and understood by another heart. Yet, there is a great mystery surrounding the human spirit, one that gently reminds us we are never truly abandoned, that within and around us abides a loving presence, ready to bring solace to our wounded spirits. This prayer, spoken in the quiet chamber of your heart, is an invitation for divine grace to seep into every crack where loneliness has made its home, filling you with the warmth of love and the assurance that you are held more tenderly than you may ever realize. Take a moment to breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, allow a small portion of your tension to melt away. Perhaps you feel your shoulders relax just a little, or your jaw unclench, or even a tear well in your eye. If tears come, do not hold them back. Sometimes, tears are the language our souls speak when words fail us. It is in this space of raw vulnerability, this space where you admit you feel alone and yearn for comfort, that the gentle arms of the divine can wrap around you. Think of it as leaning into a quiet darkness, only to discover that a soft light is glowing there, ready to show you that you have never truly been in the dark. For the one who crafted the stars in the sky also fashioned the depths of your being, and nothing that arises in your heart is unknown or unwelcome to that loving presence. Let yourself reflect on where your loneliness springs from. Perhaps you have lost someone dear through distance, disagreement, or the finality of death, and the hole in your life feels impossible to fill. Perhaps you long for a partner, a friend, or a community that truly comprehends the uniqueness of your spirit. You might even be surrounded by people, yet still feel an aching void, because the kind of connection your heart craves cannot be satisfied by mere social interactions. Whatever the source, be it heartbreak or simply a persistent sense that you do not belong, rest in the knowledge that there is a sacred compassion that reaches out to the very root of your isolation. You are not defective for feeling alone. You are simply human, and part of the human story involves learning how to open ourselves to grace when we feel most isolated. Imagine, if you will, a flickering candle flame. Place it in your mind's eye and watch as it dances, casting a gentle glow that pushes back the shadows of your loneliness. This flame can represent the divine presence that forever burns, a quiet reminder that even the darkest of nights cannot extinguish hope. As you hold that image, allow your breathing to slow, each inhale gathering your fear, each exhale releasing it to the universe. Whisper softly in your heart, "I feel alone. My spirit is weary. I seek your comfort." Notice how a tiny wave of relief may ripple through you at the mere act of naming your longing in prayer. Sometimes, admitting we need comfort is the first and bravest step in welcoming it into our lives. In this state of openness, reflect on the love that exists in the world, love that manifests in many forms. There is the love of a parent, the love of friends, the love of nature, the love of a pet, the love we feel when we gaze upon something beautiful. So often, we brush past these small wonders, dismissing them as inconsequential. Yet, each fragment of love is a testament to the universal force that binds us all. In times of deep loneliness, it can be easy to forget that such love still circulates, but the same life force that causes flowers to bloom in spring, the same gentle breeze that brings relief on a scorching day, the same starlight that guides travelers in the night. This is all part of a grand tapestry of existence that quietly enfolds you in times when you feel you stand entirely by yourself. Let your mind settle on any memory or moment when you felt cared for, even if it was a fleeting kindness from a stranger. Allow that memory to become a small anchor, reminding you that genuine connection does exist, and that you are worthy of receiving it. The road of loneliness can feel never-ending, and in moments of despair, you may question if this season will ever pass. But seasons, by their nature, are impermanent. They come and go, each one carrying lessons and transformations within its fold. The season of loneliness, while painful, can also become a crucible where your spirit discovers its resilience and uncovers a deeper relationship with the divine. When you have no one else to turn to, you might find that the still, small voice of grace resonates more clearly in your heart, urging you to listen, to believe, to trust that something greater than your sorrow is holding you upright. Pray that in this lonely season, you learn to taste the sweetness of solitude without becoming trapped in despair. That you find solace in the simple truth that your beating heart is evidence you are still alive, still here, and still able to receive love in unexpected ways. Sometimes, you may doubt whether the divine even cares about the small details of your life. You might think your loneliness is too trivial, or that you have somehow earned this solitude through past mistakes or inherent flaws. But that is a voice of deception, fueled by fear and the judgmental standards of a world that often values superficial achievements over genuine emotion. In prayer, you come face to face with a truth that shatters such lies. You matter infinitely, not because of anything you do, but because of who you are. You're a unique expression of the infinite, a beloved child of creation. Your loneliness is not a punishment. It is a signal, a cry from the depths of your soul, asking for healing and reconnection. And healing is precisely what the divine does best. Bring your loneliness to this compassionate presence and say, I feel alone, but I believe in the possibility that I am not alone. Heal this gap between my yearning and my reality. In those words, you grant permission for grace to begin its work. If you find your days empty, fill them with small acts of tenderness toward yourself. Sometimes, self-neglect exacerbates the pain of loneliness. When you feel as though no one else cares, you might also fail to care for yourself, skipping meals, withdrawing from activities that once brought you joy, or letting your living space grow cluttered or disheveled. Prayer can remind you that you are deserving of gentle self-nurturing, especially when you feel no one else sees. Wake up in the morning and open your blinds to let in the sunlight, or sit under a lamp if your environment is too dark. Drink a cup of tea and hold it close, letting its warmth seep into your hands. Pause to admire the shape of a flower or the scattering of clouds in the sky. These small gestures, done in a spirit of prayerful awareness, become declarations that your life is worth cherishing. They are living prayers, acts of faith that quietly proclaim, my being matters enough that I will offer it goodness. In the intimacy of prayer, you can confess everything that weighs on your heart, those regrets about relationships that never blossomed or ended abruptly, the guilt you might harbor for things left unsaid, the anxiety that you will remain isolated forever. Lay them all out, trusting that nothing is too heavy or too trivial for the one who shaped your soul. Picture yourself placing these burdens into hands that are infinitely gentle, yet infinitely strong. Let the tears, if they come, be an offering of honesty. For prayer is not about perfected words, it is about raw sincerity. Sometimes, the only prayer you can muster is a wordless groan, a sigh that says, I can't carry this alone anymore. In that surrender, grace begins to flow, gently reminding you that you were never meant to walk this life entirely unaccompanied. When the night hours stretch long, and you find it hard to sleep, picture a soft light in your room, perhaps resting at the foot of your bed, a reminder that the divine presence is near, watching over you. If your thoughts wander to all the ways you feel you have fallen short, or if you replay old memories that reinforce your loneliness, redirect them gently. Yes, I feel alone, but I open my heart to comfort. Yes, I have regrets, but I open my heart to forgiveness. Yes, I fear tomorrow, but I open my heart to hope. Each simple affirmation is like a thread weaving you back into the tapestry of connection. In these moments of stillness, a quiet peace may settle upon you, even if your problems remain unsolved. That peace is a promise that you can bear this season, that loneliness need not crush you. Consider also the possibility of reaching out. Prayer can soften your heart and make you receptive to subtle nudges telling you to pick up the phone, write a letter, or step outside your comfort zone to join a group activity or volunteer opportunity. While prayer offers celestial comfort, it also often calls us to take earthly steps that help manifest that comfort in tangible forms. The divine might place someone on your mind who is also lonely, beckoning you to connect with them. Paradoxically, when we extend care to another, we begin to heal our own sense of isolation. If you sense that nudge, follow it, trusting that it may be an answer to the very prayer you have been lifting up. Sometimes, the comfort we receive is woven together with the comfort we give, and in bridging that gap, we find ourselves less alone than before. In prayer, we learn that loneliness, while painful, can be a teacher. It can strip away superficial relationships, reveal truths about our emotional needs, and highlight the areas in which we need deeper growth. Perhaps you are discovering that you have difficulty letting others in, or that you have grown used to a certain negative narrative about yourself. Loneliness can cast a spotlight on these patterns, giving you the opportunity to work through them with sincerity. Ask in your prayer for the courage to face these parts of yourself, rather than chastising yourself for not being good enough. Approach your insecurities with gentle curiosity. Why do I believe I'm unworthy of love? Where did that belief come from, and how can I release it? The divine presence, ever merciful, stands ready to hold you as you delve into these tender places, shining a light so that shame cannot flourish. There may be moments when you feel a rush of relief or a flutter of peace during prayer, only to have the loneliness return again the next day. Do not be disheartened by this ebb and flow, for healing seldom happens in one grand moment. More often, it unfolds in cycles, each prayer, each day, each breath, bringing a measure of release that accumulates over time. Slowly, you may find your perspective shifting. Instead of feeling hopelessly abandoned, you begin to trust that a greater love underlies your existence. Instead of resenting your isolation, you may discover that solitude can hold a certain sweetness, a room in which you can commune with the divine in ways you never experienced before. Gradually, the edges of your loneliness may soften, revealing a quiet sense of companionship that is not dependent on the physical presence of another human being. Still, if your loneliness becomes too heavy, if it grips your heart with a severity that makes day-to-day functioning a struggle, prayer can guide you toward professional help or deeper connections in the community. In the same way that the divine can heal a broken spirit, the divine can also work through skilled counselors, compassionate faith leaders, supportive friends, or mental health professionals. A whispered prayer of, "I can't do this alone anymore," might be the impetus that helps you reach out for assistance. The path to comfort may include therapy or medication, heartfelt conversations with a mentor, or even attending a spiritual retreat. Trust that there is no shame in seeking help. In fact, the courage to acknowledge your need is a profound expression of humility and faith. To those who feel invisible, unloved, or insignificant, prayer offers a reminder that each soul is a priceless facet of creation. In the tapestry of humanity, no thread is extraneous. You were woven into this world with intentions and gifts that only you can manifest. No matter how alone you feel, your life has an impact on the grander schemes. Small, perhaps, but infinitely meaningful in the eyes of the one who orchestrates the cosmos. Sit with that truth. Let it permeate your being. You matter. Even if you cannot see the full picture now, your presence is part of a larger design. And in that design, every strand has a purpose. Ask in prayer for the eyes to see hints of your purpose, to notice the ways in which your existence influences the lives of others, even if only in the subtlest ways. The more you realize you have a role to play, the less likely loneliness will convince you that you have been utterly forsaken. In times of darkness, hold on to stories of those who have navigated loneliness and emerged stronger, more empathic, and more deeply in tune with the divine realm. Countless individuals throughout history have walked solitary paths, prophets, poets, mystics, artists, finding in their isolation a conduit to profound insight. Your story is not so different. Perhaps this season of solitude is preparing you for a future where you will offer compassion to others who walk the same lonely road. Prayer can reveal how your scars might become beacons of hope for those who come after you. In acknowledging your own emptiness, you learn how to fill it with compassion, wisdom, and spiritual depth. Then, when you meet someone else wandering in the desert of aloneness, you can provide them an oasis of empathy. Yet do not rush yourself, nor treat your loneliness like a mere problem to be solved. Sometimes, the gift of prayerful acceptance means recognizing that this is the season you are in, and it deserves to be honored for whatever it might teach you. If you push against it too forcefully, you may miss the subtleties that only become apparent in quiet reflection. Instead, move gently, day by day, prayer by prayer. Some days you may feel a surge of optimism, and on others, you may slip back into the familiar ache of missing someone or craving human closeness. Both experiences can be held in the arms of prayer. You are allowed to have good days and bad days, steps forward and steps back. It is all part of the tapestry of healing, and each thread, light or dark, contributes to the final masterpiece that is your life's story. If a sense of futility threatens to engulf you, recall that prayer need not be an elaborate ritual. It can be as simple as whispering, "Help me," in the midst of your tears, or "Thank you" when you feel a fleeting moment of peace. You could be lying in bed, staring at the ceiling with a heart pounding from the fear of another lonely day, and simply breathe, "Be with me now." That single sentence can become your lifeline, an assurance that you do not have to stand alone against the tide of emptiness. Prayer is not so much about the words you choose as it is about the posture of your heart, a posture of openness to receive comfort, a posture of humility that acknowledges you cannot bear this burden by yourself. As you continue in this spirit of prayer, keep in mind that loneliness can be a shared human experience, linking you to countless others who also feel unseen. Sometimes, just recognizing that you are not the only one can ease the sharp edge of isolation. The divine presence rests upon every living being, though many are unaware of it. In that sense, your prayerful seeking connects you to an invisible network of souls who yearn for solace. Take heart in knowing that you stand among them, not as an outcast, but as part of a vast community of spirits who are also longing, searching, and fumbling toward love. In the unseen realm of compassion, your loneliness resonates with theirs, and together, your collective cry for comfort becomes a powerful chorus that heaven cannot ignore. Over time, you may notice subtle shifts. Perhaps a new sense of gratitude blossoms in your spirit, or you find yourself feeling a gentle presence beside you when you sit in silence. You may experience more vivid dreams that bring messages of hope, or encounter coincidences that feel like signs guiding you forward. In these occurrences, prayer plays the role of an attentive observer, helping you see the glimmers of grace that were always there, but hidden by despair. The divine often speaks in whispers, a chance meeting, a line in a book, a fragment of a song lyric that pierces your heart, and prayer opens your ears to hear those whispers. Let each small sign be a drop of comfort in the pool of your loneliness, gradually transforming it into a place of reflection and eventual peace. If you have the energy, consider keeping a journal of your prayers and any insights or feelings that arise during lonely times. Write down the moments when you sense even a fleeting relief from isolation, the times when you cry and yet feel accompanied by something invisible. Over the weeks and months, you may see patterns emerge, or realize that your darkest spells become slightly less intense. This record can serve as a testament to your resilience and a reminder that your prayers do not vanish into thin air. By putting your experiences into words, you externalize them, making it easier to recognize that even loneliness has a shape, and that shapes can transform under the alchemy of divine love. In the midst of all this, be gentle with yourself. Loneliness can carry a heavy load of self-reproach, as though it is your fault for not being more sociable or attractive or successful. Prayer is the invitation to release those harsh judgments. The divine looks upon you with eyes of compassion, understanding every layer of your story, where you come from, the pains you have endured, the efforts you have made. In that perfect understanding, there is no condemnation, only an outstretched hand offering to help you stand. Accept that hand with humility, allowing grace to envelop the parts of you that feel unworthy. In this acceptance, you affirm that you are not alone in your aloneness. As your prayer life deepens, you may find that small miracles happen. You might meet someone who becomes a true friend or mentor. You could stumble upon a spiritual community or group where you feel accepted. An old connection might rekindle. Or you might discover a new passion that ignites your sense of purpose and leads you toward like-minded souls. While none of these events may instantly cure your loneliness, they become pathways through which divine comfort flows, reminding you that the world is richer and more connected than you once believed. Prayer does not always yield immediate answers, but it can open you to the possibility of surprise blessings that gently shift the direction of your life. Continue to breathe in and out, allowing your heart to rest in this living prayer. If you feel warmth in your chest or a subtle relaxation in your body, linger there, savoring it as evidence that you are receiving comfort. If you still feel heavy, do not fret. Loneliness can be tenacious, and sometimes the process of uprooting it takes time. But each prayer, each moment of surrender, loosens its grip a bit more. Even the simple fact that you are here, offering this prayer from your depths, indicates a glimmer of hope that you have not given up on the idea that solace is real and available. That spark of hope is enough. Know that whoever reads or hears these words, you are worthy of love and belonging. You are a treasure whose light may be momentarily hidden under the bushel of loneliness. But that light remains within you, intact and divine. This prayer stands as a silent companion, affirming that you need not walk this path in despair. Lift your eyes, if only in your imagination, and envision a presence too immense to be contained by any one form, yet tender enough to cradle your tear-streaked cheeks. You are not invisible to this presence. You are seen, cherished, and guided toward the home of your own heart, where love resides in quiet potency, waiting to expand and embrace your entire being. If at any point you feel your loneliness intensify, return to these words or form your own. Whisper them into the silence. Divine, I open my heart to your comfort. Fill the hollow spaces within me. Remind me that I am loved and never alone. Let that be your mantra, your shield against the whispers that say you do not matter. Over time, you might notice a gentle strengthening within, a subtle shift of perspective that affirms your connection to all that is sacred. And from that growing inner wellspring, you may find yourself able to offer kindness and understanding to others who are also lonely, thus becoming a channel of the very comfort you once desperately sought. In closing this prayer, you do not close the door on the divine presence. Instead, you carry it with you into the next moment, the next breath, the next day. For prayer, when heartfelt, does not end with the final word. It echoes in every step you take afterward, reminding you that comfort can be found in the simplest of places, the hush of your own mind, the warmth of sunlight, the kindness of a stranger's smile, or the quiet conviction that you are more than your loneliness. May this prayer live on in your heart as a testament that you are, in truth, never alone, and that comfort is but one heartfelt plea away. Amen.